G'day Josh and g'day Namarka.
G'day, how are you?
G'day Dave, g'day listeners.
G'day guys. Now you've got a big event coming up and it's happening tomorrow over at the PCYC at the Sugar Bowl there. Now it is the Goodways campaign. Now this is all about domestic violence prevention and awareness. You've teamed up with JC Action Sports, of which Josh is a part, aren't you Josh?
Yeah, it's a great time.
Now Josh, what brings you to meet up with Namarka, and how did all this come about? I know that Reconcile Life has teamed up with you for this one, and I'd like to get a little bit of background about what JC Action Sports actually do.
Yeah, so we operate nationally, which is really cool. We get to go all around Australia, going in and out of schools, doing events, partnering with awesome organisations like Reconcile Life, and using the platform of Action Sports to spread a message that brings hope. And whatever topic that is, we use what we do to help speak to young people in the community and bridge the gap using something that's cool, that's fun, that's exciting, often to talk about things that are really hard to talk about, and to teach young people tools that they can take away and then change the way they see the world, even if it's just by 1%.
Yeah, and that's any sort of difference you can make is going to make a difference. Now, this background about you, Namarka. Now, you founded Reconcile Life. When did you do that?
2019 is when we officially started, but it was really something that we'd been sort of working on since about, I'd say, 2017. But it had been a long process. But yeah, 2019 is when we officially started.
And what is your vision?
So,
as Reconcile Life?
Well, Reconcile Life, actually, it's funny, I was talking to someone about it yesterday, and, the way that we started wasn't something that I had ever planned to do, wasn't on my long-term, goals or anything like that, but the fact that we had, at the time, there was a lot of, in our community, there were actually a spate of suicides that had occurred, and it just really rocked our community, and I really felt like, as far as Indigenous males or just males in general that were going through a lot of, personal grief. And when you talk about things like, the cultural component of these young men finding a place to go and have someone that they feel that they can trust, or somebody they feel they can talk to, that was, number one, it was culturally appropriate, but number two, that they felt like a sense of security in the people they were talking to. So I knew with my upbringing that, with my cultural background, or even just being born and raised in Mackay, and then seeing a lot of these young men, because they were young men that were going through this stuff and feeling what they were feeling in their families, I felt like there was an opportunity for me to maybe share some of the knowledge that I was brought up with, and pass that on, because I know that's really, at the end of the day, that's really what I think that culture is about. It's about passing on that lived experience, the knowledge that you get from your elders, and passing on to the younger generation. So some of these guys didn't feel that. So that's a very broad sort of statement about why we started. But aside from the suicides that were happening, it sort of linked into a lot of the behaviours around domestic violence. And families being sort of pulled apart, and all of this sort of family dynamic that was, in a lot of ways very toxic, very, and a lot of hopelessness, and that connection even with JC Action Sports of what they do in schools around the mental health stuff, Josh. Around the mental health space with young people as well. I felt like, that one component of the Goodways campaign, we call it Goodways because that's what we say up here, and I don't know, blackfellas up here say, it's Goodways, we're going to talk about some heavy stuff, like domestic and family violence, Goodways, we want to talk about that. So Goodways is just a way to I guess maybe just bring that message of domestic and family violence, but bringing it in a way that's palatable. Not just palatable, but people can digest it and go home, especially young people, because we use very simple acronym, and it's called ROLL, ROLL, which is respect, overcome, look, and listen. And it's something that we've been working on with JC for a while. It's a very important tool for us, because what it does, it sparks a conversation within the young people. So it's not just the teachers talking about it. It's not just somebody from outside their school talking about it.
It's someone cool talking about it too.
But the kids start talking about it themselves with nobody forcing them to. So now you've got this conversation happening with young people in a way that they connect to. That's the power of it. I mean, this is just one component of what we do with Reconcile Life. Reconcile Life has been delivering behavioural change from cultural perspectives, men's camps, we've done women's camps, kids camps, seminars, you name it. But the Goodways campaign is something that's been happening year after year since 2020 with the funding support of Daly Bay and Daly Bay Infrastructure. They've been supporting us the whole time.
You'll give them a pat on the back.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of people wouldn't even be bothering with that sort of space, and it's not a big money spinner, or it's not a big, it's not one of those things that you get a big pat on the back for doing it.
And I guess for a lot of those industries too, they're thinking about staff retention. How do you keep staff to live in Mackay, especially if you've got FIFO, like people flying out, or people that live in the area even. And what are some of the biggest issues? Well, obviously one was around maybe youth crime, or it might have been drugs or substance abuse.
Yeah.
But the main one that was definitely coming up was domestic and family violence, because Mackay was having that bit of a record of having repeat offenders of family domestic violence, and the highest in Queensland.
Yeah, I think it's 32% more than the general community, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Something ridiculous.
That's right. And so for me doing the men's camps, I've had men that are 45 say to me, "Namark, I wish somebody told me this when I was 15. Yeah. So I was like, let's go to the kids. Yeah. Let's actually focus on the younger generation, because it's not like it was when I was growing up. It's not even like it was 10 years ago. How much times have changed with kids?
Indeed, and it is a totally different world.
Yes,
that we grew up in, even as you say, 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I suppose brings us to you, Josh. Now, your organisation you're the director, one of the directors of JC Action Sports, and you founded in 2004?
Yeah, originally, so with the original crew, 2004, yeah.
Now, and I was reading today, it's an interesting way of getting kids involved, but it's a way of getting it through those extreme sports. And I think that's the clever bit, isn't it? It's like, it's a cool activity, and a lot of people, it's huge, isn't it? They're like BMX, freestyle, and all that stuff with gold medals of late and stuff at the Olympics and whatever. Kids are right into it, and if you can get them engaged, and I think that is what you are doing, isn't it? It's getting them engaged through these extreme sports. You've got motorcycles and all sorts of things.
And the cool thing is it's a natural expression of who we are as people, because we'd be doing this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And young people grow up integrated into action sports now. You know, it's legitimate now. Whereas when I grew up, it was like
wasting time,
fringe at best.
BMX bandits.
Yeah. I've got the curls for that one at least. But personally, for me, I joined JC back in 2010.
Yeah.
And it had already been going for a number of years, but what I remember is it made such a huge impact on me. And seeing people that looked like me, that sounded like me, that had passion, that weren't limited by what other people said or cared about, that they had excitement, that they had fun, but they had hope. And seeing that inspired me and led to a catalyst to a lot of change in my world that helped me to overcome a lot of the horrible things that I faced as a young man. And now I get the privilege and honour of being able to do that for others. And no matter where we go, Dave, no matter where we go across Australia, universally everybody needs hope. They need respect and they need love. And we're able to bring a small semblance of that. And in schools, we might be there for 45 minutes, but I know from personal experience that a 45-minute investment of hope can change someone's life forever. So whether that's through sharing openly the gospel, or a lot of what we do in schools is we talk about values and we use those to interact to counteract and identify negative stuff. We use positive educational methods. You know, if somebody says to you, don't touch that plate, it's hot, what are you going to do? You're going to touch the plate, right? So rather than talking at young people, telling them what not to do, we're reinforcing and encouraging positive values and behaviours so that they can see a toxic behaviour and they can go, actually, that wasn't respectful. we're not going to champion that and keep each other accountable and champion those values moving forward. And the beauty is that when we see young people that need this hope and they hear it, they feel like they know us, they can reach out and
they feel safe, obviously.
Yeah, and we're able to partner with local organisations that then do the follow-up.
Yeah, and you do get all over the place. I've been having a look around. You're just all over the joint.
Yeah, we were in Burke on the weekend doing their ag show, and that was really cool. We got to encourage some of the young people out there. I'm originally from Dolby, so a small town myself, and getting to bring something so special, so cool and unique and positive into a community like that. And we weren't sharing a complicated message out there. All we were doing was encouraging people to support each other and be there for each other. You know, some of the mental health stuff we work on is positive, preemptive. So it's like going to the gym, but for your brain and your soul. Yeah. You know, and giving people simple tools that go a long way.
Jeez, it sounds like you're really enthusiastic about this, mate. And well, being here is just obvious that you're really keen on doing this. And tomorrow, it's going to be a big one. What?
A lot.
That's what we're...
From us. But
so that's half the entertainment when they come off.
Yeah. Well, we have this really special setup that we brought up specially for this Goodways campaign that Mackay's never seen before. It's a 3-metre high trailer that we ride down the back door that's clipped into another ramp, and then we hit a 6-foot kicker onto an 8-foot tall airbag landing, and you get to see all sorts of flips, all sorts of spins. And sometimes we crash and it's funny, and sometimes we get it right and it's spectacular. But the main thing is we have a great time doing it, and we get to engage the young people. And tomorrow you can expect a lot of that. You can expect an amazing guest speaker that Namaka will be able to tell you more about, and a great day for the community. Bring the kids out, you know,
it sounds like
come out and hang out.
Sounds like an absolute hoot.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yes, it is. Again, if it wasn't for organisations and, you know, companies like Daly Bay and Daly Bay Infrastructure to actually help, to get behind it, but they actually believe in what we've been doing for the last, 5 to 6 years. Not just because of who we are, but because of the results. Yeah. And I think that's what's important to recognise is, while it might not be, across the whole board, it's not across our systems, it's the families in individual schools that are sitting up and taking notice of this message. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's just by changing one person, or one child.
So change one life, but that might change 20 lives.
100%, and it's that ripple effect, Dave. Like it just really does go further than what we see. But the whole point of it being free is, I guess, we've got organisations here in Mackay that are able to support this in a way that is not just a once-off, but it's continually year after year. And what that does for us, it actually goes, because the support's coming to us year after year, we're actually able to now establish something within our community that is going to go beyond me. I'm just one person. But now I can actually start training other people to do what I'm doing.
And you can do that.
You know what I'm saying? 100%. Yeah. And as you said, being on the council as well, like that's kind of forced me to do that, because I can't be 100% in Reconcile Life. So I'm at this point now where I'm going, okay, it can't be the Namaka show. This has got to be about other people in our community catching the vision for this. And even not just for Reconcile Life, but going, there's other community organisations out there who are doing the exact same thing and doing more than what we're doing. But what we want to do is just value add to the work that's already been done, and say, we're nobody's an island. We if we're going to talk about community, we actually need each other. Every organisation needs each other, and it's this thing of breaking down the silos and saying, you work in that section and I work in this section, but we're doing the same thing. So let's break out of that and let's connect.
And let's work as a team.
And that's what people said to me right at the start. What does BMX have to do with domestic violence? And I said, absolutely nothing. But it's got absolutely everything to do with it, because when you want to engage kids, you need a bridging factor. You need to bridge this message in a way that is not just negative, that brings positivity, that brings a sense of, I don't need to be ashamed about talking about how I feel. And I don't need to be ashamed about the things that are going on at home, but I can actually overcome my fear because I just watched a guy do an upside down, tail whip on an airbag, and he was petrified of doing it. And then he got off the airbag, and then he said to me, I was afraid of doing that, but you know what? You don't have to be afraid of the things that are going on in your life. There's always someone to talk to. There's always, if it's at your school, if it's at your local PCYC or wherever it might be, that people need to know there's someone to talk to. And I think that's really the message that most organisations in our community, they want our community to know that there are people out there, and if people are struggling, even while they're listening to this, there's Lifeline. You can call Lifeline. It's not over. That's the message we want to bring. We want to say there's hope. And having someone like Chloe McCardle, who's coming tomorrow, she's a world champion, record holder, Queen of the English Channel. I mean, you've looked her up, Dave. You know all about it. But she's an amazing person, and just she's been coming here with a few other programs that are happening with Nigel Dalton as well, and going through schools and giving her story just around her own experiences and having that. I guess again, here we go, talking about someone who's doing the same thing, but just in a different way. And what I've been finding is when I'm connecting with people like Chloe or with Josh or whoever it might be that are doing the same thing, people start to sit up and listen and go, "Oh, you guys are working together." Yes, because we're talking about the same thing, And so that's really my passion and my drive. Is to when we talk about community work, it needs a community involvement. Yeah. But it's on tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. It is on tomorrow, and it should be a big one. And look, I hope there's heaps of fun. I'm sure there's going to be heaps of fun, and I can't think of a better way to engage kids. Really, to have a think. And as I say, it's not a hard sell. It's it's an easy sell, and you're not going to be bombarded. But you will have a chance to talk with Josh, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll have a chance.
Hanging out.
Cool.
One of our highlights is always engaging with people and getting time to chat and give out high fives and have a laugh. And
important to you.
That's why we exist.
Yeah.
We believe in investing in the next generation as much as we can, because it's just like money, right? If you don't invest in something, it's not going to grow.
That's right. It's like education. If you don't invest it,
So give our time, give our encouragement, give our, our fun, and spend time with these kiddos and the community as a whole. We can't wait to meet everybody and hang out. It'll be fun.
Yeah.